Hello everyone, welcome to Operation Research class by Sadashiv. Today's topic is game theory, so that is solving a game with a saddle point. Okay, before solving the game with a saddle point, we need to study about the introduction about the game theory. Okay, in this model, we need to study about the definition of pure strategy problems and the saddle point, max min and the minimax criteria, principle of dominance, solution of games with a saddle point. So these are all the syllabus given in the game theory. But in the today's class, in this session, we will study about the definition and the introduction about the game theory. Okay, there are many scientists and the experts. They are given the different definitions for the game theory. Okay, as for the William G. Nelson, so he had given that a game theory is a mathematical method of analyzing a conflict. The alternative is not between this decision or that decision, but it is between the strategy, this strategy or that strategy. So it means that William Nelson will say that the alternative is not between this decision or that decision, but instead of saying the decision, so we supposed to use the this strategy or the that strategy. It means that each company should have the n number of strategies. So which strategy will give us more profit, or which strategy will help us to minimize the losses? Okay, next, as per the Matrix, game theory is a method of study of decision making in situation of conflict. It deals with human processes in which the individual decision unit is not in complete control of other decision units entering into the environment. Okay, JCC McKinsey points out a valid distinction between two words, namely game and play. According to him, a game refers to a particular realization of the rules. A game refers to a particular realization of the rules. According to Edwin Mansfield, a game is a competitive situation where two or more persons pursue their own interests and no person can dictate the outcome. Each player, an entity with the same interest, make his own decisions. A player can be an individual or a group. So that is important. A player can be an individual or the group. Next, we need to study about what are different applications. So managerial applications of this theory of games. So here we can apply this theory of games. Okay, we can apply in the first one is analysis of the market strategies of a business organization in a long run. So if you want to run your company or the organization in a long run, so then we need to apply this theory of games. Okay, game is not the actually what we are playing in the playground. This is the game, this is the event which we need to play in the market, so without harming to somebody. So we need to play in a market with our own strategies to improve our profit or the minimize our losses. And the second application is evaluation of the responses of the consumers to a new product. Third one is resolving the conflict between two groups in a business organization. Fourth is decision making on the techniques to increase the market share. Material procurement process. So okay, these are all the different applications. So here we can use this theory of games. Okay, next we'll move on to the key concepts in the theory of games, or else we can call this as a different terminologies used in the theory of games. One is the players. Okay, there should be a player because as we are talking about the game, so it means that there should be a player. So there may be an n number of players in the market. All the n number of players will play with their own strategies. Players, the competitors or the decision makers in a game, are the players of the players of the game. So decision makers or the competitors will be calling them as a players. Then what do you mean by strategy? The alternative courses of action available to a player are referred to as his strategies. So alternate courses of action. So strategy means, so for example, if you want to score good marks in this main exam, so then we need to, first thing is we need to prepare the notes. Second thing is we need to study every day. And third thing is we need to go for the any videos of fifth one, so we need to practice all the points. So likewise these are all the different strategies. So likewise each person will have his own strategy to reach his objective or the aim. Okay, next one is a payoff. So payoff, outcome of playing a game is called the payoff to the concerned player. So payoff in the sense, so whatever the number of points we'll get it from each strategy, so that we're supposed to put it in a matrix, that is a payoff matrix. So that numbers we call it as a payoff. Next is optimal strategy. Strategy by which a player can achieve the best payoff is called the optimal strategy for him. Okay, as I told that, so in order to score good marks in the main exams, we need to go for the different strategies. So already I explained. Out of all those, so one will click like so I need to study every day. So that may be the good optimal strategy to score good marks, or else we need to practice the problems every day, or else so we need to practice the problems in a systematic way. So many strategies. Out of all the strategies, so one will click. Next one is zero sum game, a game in which the total payoffs to the players at the end of this game is zero, referred to as zero sum game. So zero sum game, total payoff. So if there are two players are there, profit to the one player is equal to the loss to the another player. So that we call it a zero sum game. Okay, payoff matrix, the tabular display of the payoffs to players under various alternatives is called the payoff matrix of the game. Next one is a pure strategy. If the game is such a way that is such that each player can identify one and only one strategy. Each player can identify one and only one strategy as the optimal strategy in each play of the game. Then the strategy is referred to as the best strategy for that player. So that's what we discuss regarding the optimal strategy. Optimal strategy in the sense, so one player is having only one and only one strategy. So one player having only one and only one strategy. That strategy we call it a pure strategy. Okay, next one is a mixed strategy. If there is no one specific strategy as the best strategy for any player in a game, then the game is referred to as the game of mixed strategy. Mixed strategy or a mixed game also. In such game, each player has to choose different alternative courses of action from time to time, because so we need to study the market time by time. So depending on the market, we need to change our strategies. So for example, if you have the multiple selling items, then if there is a summer season, then we need to sell the cold items. If it is a winter season, then we need to sell the warm items. So like that, we need to change our strategy to get the good profit. Okay, next we'll come to the maximum and minimax principle. This is an important maximum and minimax principle. The maximum of the minimum gains is called the maximum value. The name itself says the maximum of the minimum gains. If you have the four strategies, so all the strategies are giving you a profit. So out of all the strategies, which is giving the less gain, that less profit, that we need to concentrate, because so already other strategies are giving the good profits, then we need to concentrate that, so which is giving the less profit. So from that again we try to get the good profit, that is the maximum of the minimum value. At the same time, minimax, similarly the minimum of maximum losses. So if there are 4 to 5 strategies, so all the strategies are under loss. So from all the strategies we are under loss, then we need to identify which is giving the more loss. So that we need to minimize it. That is the minimax. Okay, in each problem we need to identify the maximum as well as minimax value. If these two are the equal, then we call it that itself as a saddle point, and that itself will be the value of the game. Okay, saddle point is the if the value of the minimax and maximum value are same in a particular game, so that value we call it as a saddle point. Okay, dominance means out of all these strategies, so any one strategy may be dominant, so that we'll study in the next sessions. Okay, next is the two-person games and the n-person game. So this is the different types of the games. So two-person game in the sense if the only two persons, two individuals are playing a game. Two individuals or the group of two people. So that we call it as a two-person games. In a two-person game, so there are exactly two players. So each competitor will have a finite number of strategies. So each player will have the finite number of strategies. If the number of players in a game exceeds two, then we refer to the game as n-person game. Okay, there are different types of payoff matrix. Okay, one is a 2 by 2 matrix, one is a 2 by 2 matrix, or so the payoff matrix may be 2 by n, or the m by 2 matrix, or the m by n payoff matrix. Okay, if the payoff matrix is of 2 by 2 game, so then we can say that number of, and one more thing, so whatever problem we'll study in this, so that will be only a two-person games. 2 by 2 game in the sense, so number of players in a game is a 2 and each player has the exactly 2 strategies. 2 by n in the sense, the first player will have the 2 strategies whereas the second player will have the n strategies. M by 2 in the sense, the first player will have the m number of strategies and the second player will have the 2 number of strategies. M by n in the sense, the first player will have the m number of strategies and the second player will have the n number of strategies. So that is the meaning. So then you may ask that, so what is who is the first player and this who is the second player? So in the payoff matrix, so whatever you write the player name in left side, so he will be the first player. And whatever you will write it here, so he will be the second player. So if so depending on the number of the strategies, we will divide the different types of games. The next is a payoff matrix. So whatever the matrix is given here, so that is the payoff matrix. So player A is the first player and the player B is the second player. A1, 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 A2 and A3, A4, A5 till AM are the strategies of a player A, whereas the B1, B2 till BN are the strategies of B player. And these are the payoffs. These are the payoffs they are given. And always once if we get the payoff matrix, so this payoff matrix will belongs to always it belongs to player 1 only. Always it belongs to player 1 only. For example, so A11 is a 4, A11 is a 4 and A12 is a -2. It means that from A1 strategy, a player A is gaining 4 points, whereas the player B is losing 4 points, And -2 means a player A is losing 2 points, whereas the player B is getting the 2 points. Because so always this matrix belongs to the player 1, I mean the player A in this case. And this is a zero-sum game. So that's what I given the statement here. Since the game is a zero-sum, the gain of one player is equal to the loss of the other, vice versa. Okay. And next one, player A wishes to gain as large as the payoffs. Always the player A wishes to gain as large as the larger payoff. Whereas the player B will always do his best to reach the small value A as possible, where the gain to the player B and losses to the player A. So that's what it's a vice versa. Okay, next one is a example for the saddle point. So saddle point in the sense, if the maximum value for a particular player is equal to the minimax value of the another player, so that we call it as a saddle point. Okay, thank you.